So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very, very unique session and interview here today of a person who went from being a supermodel to a super yogi. And we were just talking before we started recording this session how we are actually connected. And especially he and I just got connected through Chakrapani, late Chakrapani, who just passed away. And it's just amazing because, you know, like I was telling you, I came across you because I went through some normal doctors here for some health issue. And the first thing they did with the 5 minutes of just looking at me, like 5 different prescriptions, like, here, take this, this is good. I'm like, that's it? You didn't do any test, no blood test, nothing? Like, no, these are the ones I see it.
Yeah.
And I'm like looking at the side effects. I'm like, all right, this is enough. And then as I was looking for like Ayurvedic doctors in DC, somewhere maybe in Virginia, and nothing came up. And then I'm just like, okay, Ayurvedic doctors, US. And the first link that comes up is like Yogi Cameron. I'm like, well, that's amazing. And then I was like reading about you, and I'm like, you know what? For the new generation, I think you would be the perfect guy to bring this link between health, diet, spirituality, because they will be able to relate to you. But people don't realize how old are you? I'm looking at, I'm like, this guy looks like 30 years old. I'm like, wow, it's a young guy in Ayurveda. And then I got to find out how old you are. And I'm like, my goodness, he is half his age. You know, I mean, this is amazing. So I just thought of you as like a great, you know, connection as a new, cool, hip guy to connect the newer generations about Ayurveda and its foundation, because I don't know nothing about it. So I'm like, why don't I bring the expert on? So welcome to my channel. And, you know, I just want to know, I mean, how did you go from this supermodel to super yogi?
It's in our destiny.
It is.
As you know, you read charts. So.
Yes.
And I actually had everything sent to you yesterday because I wanted you to set, you know, connect it all as well. I grew up in Iran for 10 years with my Iranian father, English mother. Then the war started. Then I left for England. We lived there for 10 years, went to sports college, and I was a terrible student. So through sports, I kind of excelled. But I was always this kind of calm, quiet person. And around 19, I was walking down the street in London, and somebody followed me and offered me to be a model. And really from there, I left a month later, lived in Paris, never lived in England again, and went on this journey for about 12 years. And, you know, beginning of the 90s, 89, 90, 91 was a very important time for fashion because Hollywood was kind of down. They weren't putting all the actresses and actors on covers of magazines. They tried to put models on them. So then that sort of got people like Madona and Geroge Michael and Prince and all these people to use models in their videos. So we kind of became supermodels by the default that Hollywood was kind of on a hiatus. And we went on that journey for about 12 years, and it was just amazing. I mean, at that time, every door was just open. So you're a young guy, you're 20, you got fame, you got money, you can basically pick up the phone and call anybody, and everybody wants to meet you. And, and you're this status symbol of beauty to the world. And then I met Nelson Mandela in his house in '98, and he had just come out of jail, and he had spent 27 years in jail. And I look at this guy and I'm like, he doesn't look withered. He doesn't look sick. He doesn't look like angry. He doesn't look like he's really pissed off with anybody or anything. Just looks like he's peaceful. So really I saw Mandela as, jail really transformed him into the person he needed to become. So it was all part of his karma. And the reason I know about karma and all that at that time, I had a mentor when I was in the fashion business, older guy, he was in his 50s, and he was mentoring me in natural medicine and spirituality and stuff. So I was like, oh, Mandela, you know, he symbolizes the truth within, that peacefulness. And I've got the world outside covered, you know, it's just all going great for me. And I just switched and said, it's time to go on the inner journey. And of course, my agent and people were like, "Well, you're crazy. You're never going to make how are you going to make 50 grand a day?" and all that kind of stuff. And I said, I'm probably not, or I won't for quite a long time, but I just have this calling. And when that phone rings inside, if it's here, it's fine. But if it's here, you better pick it up, because it's just going to keep ringing and ringing and pestering you. So I just answered that calling, and I had no idea what I was going to do in life, but I just knew that train, that party, whatever you want to call it, was ended. And then I went on this journey of inner, not transformation yet, because I was kind of lost in my head. What do I do now? So I was in New York. I did a few things. I opened a restaurant with a friend, all this kind of stuff. Nothing to do with anything I wanted to do. But I was searching. And then I had no idea what I was doing. So I took a 6-month course in yoga teacher training. And then I read about Ayurvedic medicine. And this was sort of end of 1999. I was like, India. And the funny thing was, I traveled the whole world. India never came to my mind even one time. Not even a flash. I wouldn't even know where it was on the map. And India suddenly just was here. And I couldn't get it out of the way. And as soon as I arrived in India to study with my guru at the time, it's just like arriving home. Like, oh, here's the land where I'm supposed to be. And then I trained, for the last 10 years. Well, now it's been 15 years, but at that time, 10 years. And it was like, oh, okay, Ayurveda, yoga, meditation. These are all things that go together. And that was, and then I wanted to stay in India. My guru was like, funny story. I was with him, and I was like, so I want to stay in India. And he's like, well, what are you going to do now? And I said, well, I'm going to meditate. And, he's like, that's great. And what else are you going to do? I was like, well, I haven't worked that one out. He's like, India has me. It doesn't need you.
Yeah.
You go off and spread the word. So I came back to the US, and I didn't know anybody. And I started to call a few people, do treatments for people. I didn't know if I want to set up a clinic, what I want to do. And slowly, a couple of people in fashion told somebody, and I went and they did a 3-page article in Elle magazine, and then Extra did a story, and Ellen saw that story, and then slowly I got into this world. But so that was a journey, and it was all set out already. If I look at the whole trajectory, it was just laid out. All I had to do was follow it. And
who was your guru in India?
So Ayurvedic guru is in the south, in Tamil Nadu, where I was studying. That's Dr. Vasudevan.
Okay.
Guru now that we take Guru Diksha with is in the north. Swami Satsangi, who is from the Saraswati, Shivananda Saraswati lineage. Yeah.
I see. So what is it that, attracted you specifically to Ayurveda? Is because of your medical, the sports medicine background, or what is it?
I don't know. I learned that spirituality, you don't separate mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
The guru would say mind and body are connected. You can't separate them. So each one of them affects the other. And of course, spirituality is a great big part of your health. So I started to learn it on a mental and physical level at the beginning, and then eventually spiritually, what our karma is and why we're here. And then the last 10 years getting into Jyotish and astrology.
Tell me about that. How did you get started in that part of? Because I'm like, Ayurveda and Jyotish are connected pretty much.
Yeah.
Like if you want to be a Jyotish, you will have to understand Ayurveda, and if you want to be in Ayurveda, you have to understand how planets will affect a person's body type.
Well, when I came back to America, I got some students and stuff, and one of them, my wife now, is somebody who introduced me to Chakrapani. When I came to LA, I didn't know anybody here, and she was like, oh yeah, Chakrapani's here. And that's the first time I really got into astrology. I mean, we learned as part of our training in India but India tends to be a bit more hardcore. The language is different, and it's like very like this, rigid. Chakrapani made it more the possibilities of what can happen, but of course you have your willpower, and you can shift and change and push and shove and get some other results as well with some things. And of course, destiny is set in other things. So he started to teach me more of the houses and everything, where the planets were. And then once I started to understand that, I started to understand my health, where I'm going, how I can manage it. Then I would send everybody to him. I would say, like a client of mine yesterday, I said, you have to have a reading with an astrologer. We have to see where you're at. So for instance, she's saying, I want to start this health center. I want it to be in this part of the world, da, 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 da. And I said, well, we need to see your chart first to see, even if it's even the right time for you.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I really go to chart first and then see. So, if Mars is prevalent and all these kind of things, watch out for digestive problems. You can read the chart, get an understanding of it. And then, of course, the person, like when you read people's charts, they start to become aware on a much bigger scale rather than these little things they want to know.
Mm-hmm.
Start thinking, life is much bigger. This little idea I have or something I want to know about my career, there's so much more involved in it. And that's what I love about it. It takes the client, the seeker, into a much bigger awareness.
So you yourself kind of look at charts of people with your...
Yeah, I'm not trained in charts. Yeah. So I don't read them.
Right.
But I want to see them, and I want to know what the astrologer said.
Okay. Because, like when you were sending me your information, and the very first thing that I noticed in your chart was that, sun, as you know, represents the Atma, the soul, the soul significance. And obviously, according to Bhrigu Samhita, which is one of the oldest, astrological texts, they say sun actually kind of represents what the type of profession you'll be attracted to eventually. And so, like, especially in Vedic astrology, is something known as nakshatras, constellations. That I mean, the constellations, the 27 lunar mansions, are like everything. Like, you can take out the signs, take out the houses. If I just knew the nakshatra and the planet, I'm like, okay, this is what this person is. So your sun is in Sast Vishak nakshatra, and guess what Sast Vishak nakshatra is? Wow. Nakshatra related to 100 physicians to the gods. Medicine man, healers, healthcare practitioners, Ayurvedic doctors. Done.
Yeah.
And then the other nakshatra related to Ayurveda is Swati nakshatra. Swati is connected to Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge. But back in the days, the main knowledge was health, Ayurveda, Vedas. So your Mars and Ketu are in Swati. And Swati is related to who? Models, body sculpting, meaning like, the people who work out, I forgot.
Bodybuilders, yeah.
Bodybuilders, yes. Bodybuilders. It's connected to them. So it's your past life that brought not only sculpting body, modeling, but also Ayurveda right within in you. Like, it was right there. But I wanted to know, what is the strong foundation of Ayurveda that people should know? Because we hear a lot of things in articles, a lot of things. Since you were right under the guru, what is that first thing that you learned about Ayurveda that is like just a major strong foundation that anybody can, follow and understand?
The first understanding is the guru would say body and mind are connected.
Yeah.
In the West, we go to psychiatrists for the mind and we see a doctor for the body.
Yeah.
So we separate them, and the person going to a doctor thinks, oh, I have something wrong with my body. No, you have something wrong in your mind as well, right? So first thing you learn is mind and body are connected. They affect each other. Then the second aspect you learn is digestion. Digestion is this epicenter of your health. If you keep the digestion strong, then pretty much all diseases are curable. If you have a weak digestion, then you will have a weak spot in your body. So what that means is, if your digestion isn't strong, you will develop a weakness somewhere in your body, which you had from birth. So I have a client, for instance, cannot get rid of a cough for some 13, 14 years. And this became more of a psychological cough from childhood, but the weakness became in this area. This is ruled by kapha. So each part of our bodies are ruled by different energies and different elements. And kapha, the earth element, rules the head and the chest, lung area. And that's why you get all the mucus in this area. So when that person got a weakness in this area, they are constantly getting coughs or infections in the chest. But if we go to the mind, we understand that they have heartache, because this area is the seat of the heart as well. So that's where the spirituality comes in, and you need to know about Jyotish and all your spiritual life, as well as your physical life and your mental life. That's why they're all connected.
Yeah.
So Ayurveda will keep going as deep as you want it, but the body is basically what you're using to transport the mind and the spirit. So we don't give so much importance to the body. Western culture is the other way around. The body's super important. It's got to look a certain way, it's got to feel a certain way, and all that. In Ayurveda, it's the other way around. Your spiritual and your mental is much more important than the body, because the body is seen like clothes. You use it until it doesn't have any more use, and then you drop it. So those are the basic things in Ayurveda, the mind and body connection and the digestion.
So when you talk about the digestion, what does that mean? Is that does it have to do what we take in, or how the body's processing the food? Like,
it's what you take in, definitely, but it's how the body digests that. So the mouth is called the little stomach. That's the first port of entry where you take the essence of something. So say you take a herbal formula in your mouth, that goes to the blood much quicker because it's entering through the mouth. So that's the essence, the finer particle, the subtle part of the food is taken in through the mouth. Then the grosser matter goes down and lands in the stomach, and that's where we do most of the digestion. And then digestion again takes place in the lower intestines and the big intestines, reabsorption of food back into the system. So really the stomach and the acid needs to be able to break down things. And usually it's weak in people because eat too much sugar, too much dairy, too much things that are not, let's say, compatible as well. Eat too late at night, or they eat in the morning when they're not really hungry. Timing of eating is off. So there's so many variations of why it goes wrong. Because when I'm in the village, for example, in India, a lot of this stuff doesn't count because I'm in a village, it's quiet, it's peaceful, we're meditating. A lot of all this stuff we don't even think about. We eat, you can eat at 9 o'clock at night, you can eat this and that, but you're not eating any junk, all of that stuff. And it's pure food. But when you enter this society that we live in, you have to watch timing of food, mixtures of food. Did the food's imported? All of these things matter simply because Western culture vibrates at such a unconscious level in a way. Because everybody's running around. So Vata, the energy of air, and Pitta, the energy of fire, are what people mostly suffer from. Too much fire. And ironically, the earth is getting hotter. So the earth is getting hotter as well because the people are getting hotter as well. And that means that our activities that we're doing, there's more people running marathons, doing Ironman and this and that. And, and even in yoga, people are not doing yoga for peacefulness. They're all doing power yoga and Kundalini yoga and pushing yoga and this and that and hot yoga. And so even something as peaceful as yoga has been taken and it's been made into Pitta and Vata and fire and a nervousness. So even people coming out of yoga studios are now like fired up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
You know? And this all messes up your system. It makes it more acidic. It makes it more fiery. Then you come out with this fire in you, and you are adding more fire to the planet, and the earth is getting hotter as well. So in our case, we say if we want to cool down the planet, yes, of course, we have to drive more electric cars and do stop emitting pollution. But it's our polluted way of thinking that's adding us more pollution to the atmosphere in how we think, and not so much in the garbage that we throw out into the world.
So just from our thinking on a vibration level, it is affecting what we're standing on also.
Yeah. Imagine how much conflict is going on.
Yeah.
You know? So every tornado that comes, every volcano that erupts, every earthquake that comes, whatever's coming, it's almost like the earth is just vomiting and coughing and spitting and cleaning, and because we just keep polluting in a physical way, but also a mental way. Kind of how everybody's having conflicts these days.
Yeah.
So naturally, we have a president that's conflicted. We have Congress that's conflicted. We have the world that's conflicted. We have leaders who can't lead because they're all feeling this fire as well, and it's getting them all riled up. So it's having a bad effect on everybody. So
a fire, as in pitta, pitta food are definitely like spicy food, but also considered non-veg food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, meat has a lot of fire. Meat problem is tamasic. Tamas means it's very low energy. So if you eat meat, it's not. I don't talk about meat in terms of being a yogi and not harming animals.
Right.
I talk about it in terms of health, which is the lowest vibration of food you can eat is meat. So if you have a carrot and it's been sprayed with pesticides and it's not organic, it's still a better food than eating meat.
Okay.
Yeah, because also it takes 4 or 5 hours to digest a piece of meat, whereas a carrot takes 5 minutes.
Now, and I do know, I was watching actually something on Netflix on Ayurveda and foods, and they say certain Ayurvedic practitioners actually recommended certain people to eat meat when they were living in like high mountain plains where there was a lot of cold.
Yeah.
So because people think it's like Ayurveda is religion. It's like a religious thing, and they're like, oh, you can't eat meat. But I'm like, and I was surprised. That's why I was looking into. I'm like, how is it that ancient Ayurvedic doctors recommended?
Well, because you put on layers of fat, and you need that fat to burn it in the very cold weather. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the summer, you need more water content. You don't need fat. So winter, you need more fat, and the colder weather that you live in, you need more fat, right? So Eskimos are eating meat. People in high elevation are eating meat.
Yeah.
But they're using that fat, and it's fine for them. But the average person who lives in their house with the heating on and gets in their car and goes to work and stuff, you need more of a plant-based diet because you need more water in your system, not so much... And it's good fat. So if you eat ghee, the clarified butter, that's excellent fat. You need it.
Yeah. They actually say it's good for your heart and brain.
Yeah. And digestion.
Yeah.
Ghee's like, nobody knows how to, even scientists won't know how to explain ghee. It's just, some things are just pure, the way Mother Nature just made it. It's just the way it is. So ghee we use as medicine. We mix with herbs and we ingest it. We take it in. We use it for panchakarma and many treatments. So ghee is fine because it helps to lubricate the body with good fat. But if you're sitting at a desk and you're going to work and you're not moving around a lot, if you eat meat, you become lethargic. That becomes the problem.
Now, for a younger generation, whenever, like, even for me, I'll be honest with you, like when I see like some of the lifestyle of an Ayurvedic person, I feel like, my God, it's a very scheduled thing. It has to do with a lot of strict rules, when to eat, when not to eat, what to do this, what to do that. How can we do that in this Western society when you have to wake up at 6 a.m. in the morning, be at your desk at 8, Come back home by 7, 8, 9 if you're working extra hours, which is normal, and you're getting hungry, you're eating that thing from the vending machine and this and that. How can they not feel stressed to also, because some people will think like, oh my God, now I have to do this Ayurvedic lifestyle. And how can you make that like just as a normal as breathing?
Yeah.
How does that
If you take on a lifestyle, you're not having a conflict about it. If you're trying to add in bits of another lifestyle into your lifestyle, you'll have conflicts about it. So when I went on this journey, I embraced the Ayurvedic way of living. So there was no conflict. I just got rid of a lot of things that I was doing and said, I have to get up early. I have to do my practice in the morning. Then we do puja every morning. Then we eat, and then we go off about our business, So if you try to incorporate bits of this stuff, what happens is you compare it to, for instance, you'll want to watch your program at night, then you'll be conflicted because you say, well, then I won't be able to get up in the morning and do my practice because then I want to sleep later. That's where the conflict comes in. But if you say, my morning practice is the most important thing and I'm going to do it, then you have no conflict with the TV.
Right.
It's only when you want to fit everything in and then bring Ayurveda into it. That doesn't work because Ayurveda is the healthiest way of living.
Yeah.
And if you're not living the healthiest way and you're trying to live bits of health, you have the conflict in your head with yourself. It's not with Ayurveda. You're just conflicted because you're like, well, I kind of want to do everything.
Right. Well, like I want to go for a nice steak, but I also want to do my yoga practices in the morning. And that's what people do. They go for yoga in the morning. Oh yeah, let's meet for steak and some drinks. Come on.
Yeah. That's your conflict. It's not Ayurveda. It's just your conflict with yourself because you haven't decided. Ayurvedic way of living is very connected. Yoga and Ayurveda are the two sister sciences. Yeah. The reason is because Ayurveda is about how to keep your body and mind in shape, and yoga is about how to go beyond the mind and meditate. So everything we do in the yogic practices are for self-enlightenment eventually. And everything we do in Ayurveda is about keeping us as healthy as possible to help us with that self-enlightenment. Keeping ourselves healthy isn't about, I want to live a long time, or hey, I want to be able to run a triathlon. Because in the Ayurvedic perspective, none of that has any purpose. So it becomes a question of purpose. How do you really want to live? Do you want to live purposefully, or do you want to just live pleasurably? So I like, Ayurveda doesn't say don't have pleasure. It says have 20% of pleasure and have 80% of purpose. It doesn't say have 80% of pleasure and 20% of purpose. That's the conflict.
So that means like we as human beings, we get urges. We want to eat our fried food. We want to eat that, the samosas and the pakoras, or like that Louisiana fried chicken and all. I mean, you get that urges. It's all around us.
Sure.
So what is considered that 20% entertainment in Ayurveda that you do for your own self?
Well, if you eat that fried stuff once a week, you'll be fine.
Okay.
And that's your 20% pleasure. But
Thank you, I can do that.
But if you want to eat it 3 times a week,
then it's a problem.
It's a problem simply because it's the way it's made. So if you make a decision, this is what I did on my path. I said, I can get used to anything. It just needs a certain amount of time. I can get used to the horrible tasting herbs. I can do it all. And it takes a little time. But what I did was I made a decision that I was going to live as healthy as possible that I could. And then I would... And the thing is, I got used to everything, so now nothing is a conflict. So if I'm eating some popcorn, I'm not thinking this is bad, because I don't do it very often. And then if I eat some, coconut ice cream, I don't do it but once a month or once every 3 months. So I've detached from so many things that I would have considered a pleasure before, and I've replaced them with other things that I now find pleasurable. So you can switch your pleasures. That would be ultimately how you would want to do this, is not deprive yourself and be thinking, oh, I don't really want to eat these vegetables.
Yeah.
And I wish this was that chicken. It's to switch it around and say, I can get used to anything. If I can get used to these great things, which many people have, then I suddenly find pleasure in this and I find pain in the other. And I find that would be the easiest thing to do. Because then you take it on as a lifestyle. You never have a conflict because you love eating what you love to eat. And it's healthy.
But like, especially in the United States, when you get out of your work for lunch or breakfast, I mean, all you see is fast food places. You see this food place, that food place. Even if it's like a healthy organic store, even there, you're not getting the pure thing that you want. So for someone who, let's say, really want to make that change and make it easy on themselves, yet they're like a software engineer or working in some company and they have to work 16 hours a day and there's nothing around them but like just normal American food. How is it a hard practice then to
yes, it's more difficult. Then I use quantity. So if I have to eat, what I do is I go and I search for the healthiest thing possible. It's like kind of in an airport.
Yeah.
Airports are the same. I search and I look and I'm like, oh, sometimes I only find a banana. Sometimes I find just rice and something. If I really hungry, then I'll eat less quantity. That's all I do. Because in the back of my mind, I'm constantly thinking, I do not want to put any pressure on this body, because when I wake up tomorrow morning, I want to wake up joyful, happy. I don't want any of my arteries blocked. You know, all of that. That's in the forefront of my mind when I do anything. So if you invite me out, somebody says come and do this or that, I'm always thinking,
so steakhouses are out of limit then. I'm gonna have to cook for you now.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just a way of life. Ayurveda is a way of life. It doesn't mean that you can't do the things you want to do. It means if you follow it and you really put your heart in it, you will follow the healthiest way possible. Because if you have kids, you know, if you have a relationship, you know, you have responsibilities, you want to be energetic as possible. And most people complain about energy. One of the things I teach people is food is the lowest form of energy that you'll have. So with the sun, the air, going for a walk by the beach, you get a lot more energy from that than you do from food. You could go days and months without food. You know, yogis, people.
Absolutely.
Yeah. People have fasted for years and never eaten a thing. So it shows you that the body doesn't need that much food. I tell people is eat the least amount of food possible to keep yourself nourished. That could mean 1 meal a day, that could mean 2 meals a day, but it's never 3 meals a day. 3 meals a day, you got to be an athlete to eat 3 meals a day. That's the problem why, you know, people are not healthy, is because traditionally they're trying to fit themselves into a tradition that was hundreds of years ago.
Yeah.
They get up and they force breakfast down their throats because I may not eat till lunch.
Right.
And you're like, well, what will happen to you if you don't eat till lunch? You know? And most of the people, my clients that I work with, they don't eat breakfast after a while. They're like, yeah, it was such a psychological thing stuck in my head from my parent who was like, eat your breakfast.
Yeah.
You know? So
and they also say like, oh, you got to keep eating little by little because your stomach will always need something. Otherwise, you will become fat because if you don't drink enough water, eat a little bit instead of eating 1 time a day. They say it's bad for you. So how does that?
It's reverse in Ayurveda. Ayurveda says if you keep eating, you keep creating. As soon as you know you're going to eat food, you salivate, and that triggers the stomach to produce acid. If you keep eating and eating and eating, you make the body more and more and more acidic. So and continuous eating creates what we call amma. Amma is toxicity. It's a fine toxin that keeps accumulating in all the channels of the body because you never had a break from eating. So you see that all of these Ayurveda's, some 5, 6, 7,000 years old from the Veda. The Veda is, now scientists are saying the Vedas are some 10 to 12,000 years old. So we have this way of ancient rishis and sages and the most holiest of people bringing us the knowledge. And what it did, we didn't have to think about it anymore. All we had to do was follow it.
Yeah.
So when I'm reading Ayurvedic way, I don't have to think or have a conflict. My only conflict comes when I want to do the opposite. So when I'm reading, I'm going, oh, great, I have the knowledge now. Do this, do this, do this. But along the way, the last few thousand years, everything got splintered into thousands of pieces. So now you have this diet, this doctor says this, that doctor says that. And that.
Yeah.
So we have this splintering with no base to it, no basis. It's just somebody's opinion. So eat a few times a day, do this, do that. It's not knowledge. It's all just kind of hearsay.
Like they say, drink 1 gallon of water every day. They say you can have 12 glasses of water or something.
These people just make this stuff up. So if you want to know the origin, you just go to the origin of the thing. Drink when you're thirsty.
Yeah.
End of story. If I'm not thirsty, don't drink. It's just very simple.
And I know you're in the Los Angeles area, right? That's like the epicenter of hustle and bustle. How long did it take for some of your clients to go from that greasy non-veg food and that bad food to finally being able to work 18 hours at their work and not feel tempted to go out for happy hour or go out and do this? Were you able to completely transform some of your clients completely, or they kind of keep coming back on that?
Completely few people. Because everybody has their attachments.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to do, when I work with somebody, first thing I ask them is, what do you want? What is it? Why are you wanting to be healthy?
Yeah.
What are you going to do with all that health? Are you want to run more? Do you want to be with your family more? Do you want to build a company? Most people don't know. They're just like, no, I just want to get healthy. You first have to know, why do I want to get healthy? Because, or spiritual, or you want to meditate, or whatever it is you want. You first have to know why, because halfway down the journey, you'll lose interest if you don't know why.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's why. Half of the people go away because in that first session we have, they realize is they are not going to put any work into it.
Yeah.
So that already moves half the people. Now the other half, I ask them is, how much work are you going to be realistic? You know yourself well enough. If you don't, we have to get to know you well. Let's work on that.
Mm-hmm.
And once they start to get to know themselves, we set realistic goals of, I want this, or I want that, or it's a lot of different things. And then we know how many months we have to work, or maybe we have to, with some people work over years. But the people who are really constant, the ones who get there. It's not the people who do a lot at the beginning. Those are people who fizzle out. It's the people who constantly do every day. They do it.
Like slow and steady wins that race, instead of like, oh, I'm going to change today and that's it. And within a week, they're like getting this shock. Like, oh, no, I can't do this.
Those guys are January dreamers.
January dreamers, yeah.
They come in and they fizzle out quick.
Yeah, the resolution get people.
Mm-hmm. The one who says, no, I'm starting right now.
Yeah.
Whatever you tell me a little bit, those are the people who get it done.
Now, does and can Ayurveda cure everything, or there's something beyond that Ayurveda may not be able to cure?
So Ayurveda will say there's 4 stages of disease, which is, one is curable. Mm-hmm. One is difficult to cure, but curable. One is not curable, but manageable. And one is not curable. So it's not so much the disease itself. It's to do with what stage of disease is in your body. So one type of cancer we can heal quite easily, but that type of cancer that's gone into the deeper tissue, we may not be able to heal it. But we may be able to manage it. But we may not be able to, or we can manage it, or we can't manage it. It's going to lead to death. So it's more about what condition your body's in, how long it's been in that condition, a lot more than sometimes the strength of the disease itself.
And usually what I've also seen, because back when I was in India, my mom used to take me to Ayurvedic doctors. They would even they can just look at your face and they know exactly what is wrong with you. Like my mom is just thinking, what is wrong with him? They came and sat down. Oh, this is happening. This is that. Did he hit this? Yes. Okay, that's it. I was like amazed, like just by looking at your face, they're like, oh, I don't even need to see anything.
Tone of your eyes, skin. Well, obviously you can take the pulse as well. But there's a mannerism about, this is where physicians used to see the same patients because they could know exactly straight away.
Yeah.
If I see you from childhood and I see you regularly, I already see if Vata's a little off, Kapha's a little off, what's off. Because I already know you very well. And that's how they're telling. And then if the skin is changing, if it's rough, if it's dry, has the hair changed, then we can see if the hormones are kicking in, But that's really when you are very connected to the person.
Okay.
That's how they see it. Otherwise, they look at your eyes, take your pulse.
And they also look at your feet too.
Look at the feet.
By looking at the feet, they will determine a whole lot of things about you. And
bone structure, muscle structure. Ayurveda is really about questioning, examining, and understanding, how the body is changing, because the body is decomposing from, maybe up to 18, you're growing. And from that moment, you are now decomposing.
Wow.
Depending on how quickly you're decomposing. So all we're doing in Ayurveda is, by living this lifestyle, is minimizing that decomposing.
Slowing that decomposing down. Wow. Yeah. And I know they can even feel planets. Which planet is pulsing? Like, it is Saturn, Mars. Did you ever get to learn any of that and experience?
I didn't do that. When I was studying, I studied the most, what I felt was the most beneficial things.
Yeah.
Because that detail is really interesting. I'd love to study that more for myself, but it's not something that many people want to hear about.
Okay.
It's so intricate.
Yeah. I mean, look, you are the perfect person for Ayurveda, because people don't realize you're 50.
Mm-hmm.
And you look 27, 28, 29. You could go into a club and
party away.
They'll be like, oh, who is this 28-year-old stud coming here? I mean, this is amazing. This is why I'm like, I look older than you and I'm like half your age. And this is why I'm like, people should see, like, you are what you preach.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about.
Well, it's very much a way of thinking, more than food. That's why I said food is really the lower part of energy.
Yeah.
Your thinking has much more power than anything. How you get up in the morning, what your attitude's about, how do you embrace the world? Are you negative? Are you positive? Are you up and down, And the one who's more in the middle, like that nice wave that's moving, you'll always be okay. Because life is not, it's this up and down ride, and you're going to have to enjoy all of it. So when it's crazy, you're going to have to enjoy it. When it's really amazing, you have to enjoy it. And when it's sad, you have to enjoy it.
Yeah.
Really is to stay young and not get the cells decomposing quickly.
Yeah.
It's really more of an attitude.
I see. So let me ask you a fun question. When was the last junk food you ate? And when was the last time you ate something that you consider just low?
What's junk food? Like fries?
Fries and chips or something.
I ate some fries a week ago.
Okay. So these things are like, you can just have fun.
I had a veggie burger and it came with fries. Okay. So I have 3 or 4 or 5 fries, 6, 10. What's it going to do to me?
Right. And then
It's
this
really,
lifestyle of, which is pretty hip right now, like being vegan versus vegetarian and carnivore and eating. How does that Ayurveda takes in? Is vegan being part of
we
Ayurveda?
don't think about you should be vegan, you should be vegetarian, we look at the body and say, what does this body need in this moment,
Right.
right? If you suddenly get up and go and hike the Himalayas, your body will need a lot more fat.
Yeah.
Where are you going to get that fat from? Right? So if you're trying to join a group, that's different, because vegans, for example, don't eat dairy, they don't eat meat. Some it's about not harming animals. Some it's because they want to they just don't like meat. Are you joining things for different groups? Why are you joining them? Ayurveda doesn't think like that. Ayurveda thinks, what does this body need? How do we keep this mind most healthy? And it thinks like that, and you feed it like that. So when I'm going to eat, today is pretty cold. I have to take that into consideration. I take the weather, my mood, my attitude, the timing of things. That's Ayurveda. So we don't join movements and then, and that kind of thing. We eat according to what's going on around us and what the weather's like and what our mind is like and what time it is and what season is it. That's Ayurvedic teachings.
When was the last time you had any like non-veg food?
Oh, maybe 22 years ago.
Oh my God. Okay. I thought you were going to say, last month. Wow. Okay.
No, I was already a vegetarian, but when I was halfway through being a model.
Oh, okay.
But I had a mentor, so he was teaching me, and he was teaching me all these spiritual things, and then just naturally see, that's an example of no conflict. I didn't try to become a vegetarian. It just spoke to me.
It just spoke to you and it just boom, naturally happened.
And it happened, and there was no conflict. Yeah, don't put yourself under nobody should put them under any stress thinking, I should be doing this. That's a lot of stress. You should say, why do I want to do that? What does it mean to me I want to do that? So anytime like my daughter asks me about something, I'm like, what does it mean to you? Do it if it has a meaning, but don't do it because other people are doing it.
Does she follow the strict plans as you, or
she's now become a vegan, I think, lately, and slowly. Yeah, leave your kids alone. They'll find their way.
Yeah. So last question, it's not question, but people don't realize you were at the last moment of late Chakrapani Ulal.
Yeah.
Can you just tell us what was that like? How did that happen?
He's been our family astrologer for last 14 years, something like that. And we heard that he got leukemia in the last 2 months. That sort of took over the body. And we're very close with Diane, his partner. So we've been keeping in touch, seeing how it goes while he was, he came out of hospital one day, but it didn't work out. And so we were just keeping in touch, and, we got the call that his breathing had slowed down, to a very minimum. And that's when, the body, the soul's ready to leave the body. So that was, 2 days. We sat in the hospital with him and went, and we turned his room into a temple. He had all the gods.
That's what I heard. Yeah. So you were involved in that process. Wow.
Yeah. We were playing the mantras. We had Pujari come in and do some mantras for him. So yeah, we had all that, and then we sat, and then somewhere around 3 a.m. he passed. But yeah, it was so peaceful. Chakrapani we were always laughing. Whenever I had a reading with him, 30 minutes was about life and laughing and just having a good time, and 30 minutes was
right.
And then, but he always spoke. He said, "I'm ready. It's never a problem. Whenever the divine wants to leave the body, it's going to leave." So,
was he in pain, or was he?
Well, when you get leukemia, the body's in pain.
Pain, okay.
Definitely there's pain, but again, he was
Yeah.
He was a yogi. He understood.
So now the last thing I want to ask you, if all the people who are going to watch this, if they want to learn Ayurveda from you, they want to see you for an appointment, learn from you, your books, seminars, where can they go?
Well, first they need to have a reading with you. So
Okay.
we know what their charts say. And then you can find me on yogicameron.com. There you'll be able to read about Ayurveda. You'll be able to take courses in it. You'll be able to take diet courses, all kinds of different things. So
do you also do like a consultation? Like, let's say I'm in DC or in California.
Yeah.
I need an Ayurvedic doctor.
I do personal consultation. People generally go on my site. They find the email, send me a request.
Okay.
It's not something I do a lot of, but I do some of it.
Okay.
It just depends. Depends.
Right. Also, I wanted to just curious. This came to my mind. Have you ever any experience like Kundalini awakening or third eye awakening? With
third eye, yeah. Kundalini, not yet.
Not yet.
Kundalini is a beast to itself. It doesn't. Yeah. If you ever have a Kundalini experience, you will know about it. You know, many people think they've had the Kundalini experience. It's very, 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 very rare. The opening can be there. Yes, there can be some movement. Mm-hmm. But awakening and moving upwards, up here, that's a different thing. That is because we're moving energy in the chakras in the below, and the idea is that once you move the lower chakras, that energy into the heart, it never moves down again. So now we got it. We can only go upwards. So part of the yogic path and through yoga, what we're doing is moving this energy up. But when I was in the Himalayas and I was in India and I was trekking and I was sitting a lot, that energy was a lot easier to move. When I came back here and I got involved with business and people and work and stuff, much more difficult to move because the nature of business and worldly things isn't light. And
they say you should not even open your Kundalini just by yourself without a guidance of a guru. It could be dangerous.
You really can't open it on your own anyway.
Yeah. And what about how did the third eye awakening felt like? Like
third eye opens up at times. It's either spontaneous or you do practices. So we do some tantric practices and it just opens. It's like you're looking at a blue sky. You know, it's not something super
not like a supernatural experience or
no, none of that.
Okay.
All of these things, if you're doing it properly, you'll never have this crazy effect on you. It will have this natural, because we're taught by the guru is don't mess with energy. Don't look to have that crazy experience because it will hurt you.
Really?
Yeah. Don't start doing crazy breathing practices and this and that and getting those experiences. Everything needs to happen step by step. You might have to do a practice for 6 or 7 years and feel nothing and then move on to the next practice. Because you're seeing your life as lifetimes, not as this lifetime. Because literally you can damage yourself in many different ways if you mess with prana. Yeah, prana can liberate you or it can burn you.
So the Kundalini energy is known as the prana energy.
Yeah, that's where it's not, Kundalini is not prana. Prana is the life force of the body.
Okay.
That we manipulate to open up and wake up the Kundalini.
I see. And I'm sure you met people who have had it awakened and
few people.
What do they say? Like, what do they say about the world once it happened? Like, what is?
They're not interested in the world anymore, really.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, they're really not that interested in the world. The world is operating at a very frivolous place. You know, we think we make an iPhone and we're geniuses.
Yeah.
The person who's Kundalini awoken is not interested in the outer world anymore. It's really about the inner world. So those kind of people, you might see them they're either continuing their practice in places like the Himalayas, or they're just giving up their life in service in an ashram or somewhere. So that's usually what they're doing. They're not mingling in society.
Okay. Wow. Amazing. Well, thank you for giving me this much time. I know you have a lot of busy schedule. So
good to talk to you.
I'm just so glad that this was just very, and guess what's happening right now in the sky?
What?
Venus is in the nakshatra of Swati. And here we are, it's all about health. And here we are interacting on Swati, and it's conjunct Jupiter, Guru.
Beautiful.
So here we have the Guru of Ayurveda. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Yes.